Hello and welcome to round 2 coverage from the Resistance Discs Open, a DGPT Silver Series event at Trojan Park in Rainier, Oregon. You're here on JomezPro with Nate Sexton, Jeremy Koling, and Paul Ulibarri.
And let's get into the competitors today. We have got Adam Hammis, sidearm, backhand, putting. He's got it all. He's riding momentum. He's riding 100% C1 putting and a 1090 something rated round 1 at 10 under in the rain. Scott Withers 2 shots back, also perfect putting in the circle. And Nate Sexton in all his glory in the signature gray and navy outfit. He is 3 back. And one big galoof rounding out the card at 6 under, tied with several other players.
Leading the field in fairway hits.
Well, that's just so sweet.
First time for everything.
Oh, ouch.
Hole 1, par 3, 419 feet. Small water carry to start, OB path on the left, and the water wraps all the way around the entire green. Saving grace is probably this long grass, because we have seen a lot of players go roller here, counting on that grass to slow down the disc at the end.
And Adam is going that forehand that we expected to see him throw in round 1. He went roller, and so we get to see that low ceiling power hyzer.
Possibly heard some of the coverage, maybe.
Yeah, it's just such an obvious play for the guy, and that puts him right at 30, just inside 30 feet. That's a great shot. So hard to get that distance with the forehand.
And Scotty going to go roller here, and he's just put in so many hours into making this event happen, along with Jeff Corns and their whole team. So big thank you to him, not only playing very well as this comes to rest, circle 2, but also just out here putting in work on the course, talking to the parks department, making it happen.
You are going with a forehand destroyer. This is a bit heavy on the hyzer.
Woohoo!
And a big skip getting through those early trees. That's a open-looking putt from 45.
It's not a bad miss. At least you got through all the stuff. And
Yeah.
Halo Wraith, I thought I turned over too much, but look at that skip.
Look at all that skip you still got out of it. Pretty great.
Yeah, I kind of like that. I mean, it's very makeable 40 feet.
Just laying that one up.
Yeah.
Move on to hole 2.
No need to run that putt this early. It's very smart.
Now, I was trying to see how far I could get it without jump putting. I thought maybe I could do it. Turned out I couldn't quite.
Seeing that in hindsight, that didn't really have a chance, but I really liked it out of my hand. Just stayed elevated, got a little skip off the top. The basket seems a little kind of tiny at this point.
well, if there's anybody who can make it a bit bigger, it's this man.
Got that right. That's a great starting birdie.
Good little catch on the left side.
Good one to get. Not birdied very often, only 13% of the field birdied it. 13% of the field bogeyed, and the remaining 74% went over and got a par.
See some people canoeing there in the background. There's a pretty good fleet of volunteers in kayaks. There's scuba divers out here. They really take care of the players.
There's car drivers as well.
There's car drivers. I'm not so sure they're involved with the tournament.
Oh,
but
I've heard a couple honkies
there are
on
a couple
hole
supporters.
18.
There are a couple supporters.
Scuba drivers.
Maybe they are. Hole 2, par 3, 235 feet over water the entire way, but you do have the backstop of that road, so you kind of can throw this. You can afford to throw this a little harder, get caught up in those bushes. It's really not that bad usually. You probably give yourself about a 20-footer. If you do go out of bounds, you go to a drop zone on the good side.
And there is a $100 bounty on this one, supported by a local company called ASI. I don't know what they do, but
For a hole-in-one.
yes, for a hole in one. Yes, not just the birdie. It's the easiest hole on the course. Expect many birdies.
This looks like a little... Oh, it didn't quite flip up.
Great
Thought
height.
initially
on it,
that
though.
could
Yeah.
have been an ace.
going high speed for this length shot. A little check up there with the Sexton Firebird.
Looked closer than it was. I think
Yeah.
from the tee, we thought ace run. It was a good couple feet short.
And I like that for the birdie, but I'm trying to give this a little bit of a scare. It's just right there. Feldberg famously aced this one in 2014 Worlds. But alas, once again, I am still a bridesmaid. But no one really brided it up here, so we don't have to. This is a fun opportunity. This is I believe the first time that you and I have been on Jomez coverage together, going back to 2017 Texas States.
I'll trust your expertise there.
Oh, Texas States.
It wasn't the last round, so don't worry about it. And nice little star frame. Got to get that. Got to get hole 2. Well done.
Hole 3, par 3, 375. You're going to want to take it straight. Unless you got the big gusto, you can take the wide hyzer over the water the whole way. Scary, scary, scary. But if not, you're wanting to take this drone flight right down here and dive something on the left-hand side into that hillside. Hope you don't hit that middle tree.
And look at this shot right here. This
In.
is
Wow.
so nasty. Adam Hammes, Onyx.
Incredible shot. The flip up, the height control, the speed control. Perfect.
Can't do it much better than that.
Squithers going big.
Perfect. It's got a good chance to go in. Oh, deep, maybe?
It just, at a certain point, it felt like we had a right to left crosswind, and we were expecting it to swing in there, and it just kind of flattened out. And so it's still a great shot, just didn't quite get that ace run potential that we thought it might have. And there's that nice smart play from the Nate Sextonator.
Yeah, I'm looking ideally a little more aggressive than that, but I'm not all too disappointed. Jerm getting aggressive here. Catches a little leaf, but still has a lot of energy. Unfortunately, not enough. And it did not touch, so only a 40-foot advancement or so.
Yeah, it's the scariest shot on the course. Going for that shot, that's the biggest risk, and it really brings a big number into play.
And taking the big number out of play here. You probably had a pretty wide open hyzer look, but didn't want to mess with
The
it.
nerves
Go
were
forehand under.
Yeah, the nerves were high at that point.
Good
I'm in
veteran-
that bush.
yeah,
You
yeah.
can't see me, but I'm in there.
That was a good veteran play by him, taking, like you said, big number out. 5 at worst, going underneath like that.
I'm in there somewhere. You'll see
What?
me eventually. No, you won't.
Still an opportunity, 55 feet or so for the 4, but
Look at that wind starting to swirl around.
Yeah, it said at some point during the duration of the day that the winds were supposed to kind of calm down, and I felt like they were swirling the whole day. It never really let up. Beautiful putt here from Scott. Perfect speed to get that corner pocket catch. I feel like a lot of people who have like kind of a slower spin putt get that catch a lot. I feel like he gets that
such a
catch a lot.
beautiful
Yeah,
birdie.
he does.
That is such a hard get. I mean, we had a few birdies. I believe we had 11 players with the bird. I don't know how many went down the middle, though. I mean, it seems like it's a play that you do to kind of get you in that range. Somewhere between where Adams ended up and where you ended up, Nate, is kind of like a very common spot for that backhand tunnel shot.
Yeah.
But to get all the way to the basket and past it, down the tunnel straight the whole way, it's just fantastic birdie for Adam.
On to hole 4, par 3 today, because there's a wedding going on over there. So congratulations to the happy couple. That was reserved far before this tournament. This was kind of a scramble to replace the Beaver State Fling once that event had to be canceled. So we're playing this short for Saturday's second round, 316 feet, out of bounds path on the right, obviously out of bounds water on the left.
And this is kind of for this card with
Get down.
wow, look at the action there. But for this card with 4 players who are very comfortable and maybe even sidearm predominant in some ways, this is kind of a turn your brain off and just throw the hyzer with whatever you're most comfortable at 310.
So when our card was teeing off on this one, we actually had what was a right to left wind. But then when we threw it out there, it turned into a left to right. Did you guys have that same problem as we see this beautiful shot?
Not really. You can see the cottonwood falling pretty much straight down, and that indicates it's pretty calm right now.
I'm going Firebird.
And it just has no chance to do anything but like that. Just very little speed, very little angle, just coming into the thick grass. That's going to park every time.
Very surprised that Adam got the dig right there. I saw a lot of people really just kind of cutting over there, but when it's going, it's going.
Yeah, I thought he was in danger.
This looks a little deep, maybe?
Yeah, it is. It got that little extra roll out too, but it's still in the circle. I like the little dig that Adam got. I didn't even need to look at that awful garbage. That was just a hot mess. Not even close to the center of the pole.
Trucking right along, 2 through 4. That seems like almost a perfect pace. I mean, you'd like to be like Adam and
Yeah, 4 through 4 is something pretty special.
but that's
You'd like to be leading the tournament and start off with the first 4.
But I mean, hole 1's a bonus, hole 3's kind of a bonus. Like they're like those tweener bonuses, but they're really when you get them, you're like, okay, I got it. You're not like stoked.
Scott's at a place where you want to be, where you've picked up one of the 2 bonuses.
Right, exactly.
And
yeah.
3 under is great. 4 under is unbelievable, especially when you have the lead. So right now, Adam is in a great place. I'm 1 over.
So we went on a long and scenic walk to give the wedding a lot of room. So we went through a different way to the hole, probably walked about 1,500 feet, got over here finally to the tee of 5, which is a par 4, 615 feet. You really have no option but to just play about 300 off the tee to the landing zone to set up a very similar shot to the green. Most players going backhand hyzer, really want to avoid that long grass. Obviously, you have to avoid the water.
It's a great hole. I think Paul mentioned this. This is a great hole to just pick up the same disc and throw it twice. Very simple, basic hyzer of 1. Do it again.
Yeah, the shot that he threw there, if he just changes the trajectory a little bit, parked.
Yep.
On the next shot, obviously.
I think that's pretty much where you want to be. Maybe ideally 15, 20 feet right at that.
And Scotty goes to the mid-range here. He had a driver and a mid-range in his hand, chose the mid-range.
Look at that skip
off the path. Too far left here and you're throwing blind.
Yeah.
You'd like to be a little more right so you can just keep an eye on the basket the whole time.
And this is coming in very soft and not going to do much there. That's right where you want to be. Coming into this hole, I didn't really think this was the greatest tee because it's just kind of once again, to turn your brain off and just throw a hyzer. But then you throw a shot like this, and all of a sudden it becomes interesting.
Interesting is a good word for it.
Yeah, because it's just like, it shouldn't be any problem. You shouldn't be in the Himalayan blackberry, but I am. And there's
This is an illegal stance.
Yes, it is. But there's absolutely no access to crossing the water from there, so now there is.
If that made it over the water, whoa. That is.
That's a lot. That's a high spin rate. Wow. Nice little snappy putt. 250, 260.
And you actually aren't throwing the same exact disc, but you're still throwing a Thunderbird.
Yeah, and it was slightly short, but it's circle 1.
Edge. Just barely creeping in there.
And here's Adam doing exactly that. Let's see if he even matches the angle. He does. This is a bit wide, though. See if he gets this steep.
Little late
Yeah.
release.
There's like a little cutout there of grass, and he actually found his way right behind that little tiny tree.
It doesn't that happen when you get the first 4. It's like,
Yeah.
that's cute, but Look what you found.
Right.
This was a great shot, and it was a kind of an interesting little moment, and something that I think people can learn from. You did that putt very casually out of there, as many would. You were frustrated. You putted it out. You putted yourself right into like a little ditch that made your footing much harder than it could have been, and that's something you could check on. Even when you're just throwing a little 30-footer, you might want to check if there's any kind of obstacles, because nobody would have thought about it, but then we were all surprised, and you threw a great shot with the bad footing, and Scotty has executed perfectly on this hole.
And now he's going to get to 4 under and match Adam unless he can make this. I mean, can he make this putt? Not this time. But, yeah, that's a hot round started right now for Scott.
Yeah, and really one you don't want to get away. This is probably playing as one of the 2 easiest holes on the course. And Nate picking up a nice, easy birdie.
Yeah, it's 0.45 below par. It is as much of a must get as there really is on this course. There, not too much in terms of danger factor, unless you get yourself in a tricky situation off the tee, and then you're trying to scramble to save the birdie.
2 birdies, 2 pars.
Took the words out of my mouth. Now we're going from the second easiest hole to the third easiest hole.
Tell us about it.
Well, once again, we've got this really quick spine here. It's this is all about what the wind is doing. You're either going to go backhand, mid-range-ish disc, or forehand, and you're trying to maybe hit this high grass, get the disc to slow down, and try to just save yourself from having a death putt. So if anything, if you want to be long or short, I think you might want to be on the long side, but not too long.
I love this. I like that how he got it out wide with a little bit of power. This is super deceiving. So it looks very short, but you do need to pop it to get it there. And the wider, the better, because they do swing nice over to the right side, as you see the lift that Sexton gets right here. And the little drifty sit down. Oh, no. Same putt you just had.
So I like this player cam here because if you pause it at the right time, you'll be able to see just a little bit of the basket, and that's what we can see from the tee. And when you do that as a designer, you really are giving them that false front, and it's so hard to trust the distance, even if you have a rangefinder. To see that it's 285 and really trust it takes a lot of a skill to really get that distance down.
Great shot here.
That was important to hit the high grass. If that hits the short grass coming in that angle, it skips and it rolls down to where you are.
Or actually a little farther than the last
Yeah.
putt. I thought that was about pin high, but you were just a bit short with that curl back. Great putt, though. 28 feet up the hill.
Yeah, something like that. Pretty significantly uphill, at least it felt like it from down there.
We're back to even, folks.
They took it more than 5 seconds to run and come back. Yeah, we stop. Yay!
You got to look out for that. That was a fun segment to shoot.
Looked pretty goofy. That looked really fun.
It was really fun.
Hole 7, par 3, 420 feet. OB on the right side, defined by the road, and then the paint line left of the path is going to be the line on the left side. It opens up just barely at the green. If you saw it off short, you're most likely out of bounds left. That bushy bunker on the right side, not to be trifled with. Pretty tricky in there. Scotty does kind of early release this.
And he was thinking out of his hand, danger OB.
No skipping at all. Just glued to the ground. That's a
Gobbled
good
it up.
reaction.
You're going with your Star Destroyer, and you're trying to keep this wide and maybe flip it up just a bit.
Trying to avoid that double bogey that I took the first round. Just trying to get it out wide. Good power.
Yeah, and if this misses all the limbs and stays out of the bunker, you're looking great. But yeah, the bunker is there for a good reason.
But not only did you hit the limbs,
Yeah.
you hit the bunker, you hit the tree, you hit the grass, you didn't hit the circle.
You're in bounds.
Yeah. I mean, I'm way ahead of pace.
This is a very tight shot.
Reaction.
Hitting out
That's
of
safe.
bounds
That's safe.
and rolling back in bounds.
Fantastic break.
Doesn't get much luckier than that. Or, well, I don't want to say lucky. It just,
Yeah, it was lucky.
That
It
was
was
very
good luck.
lucky.
Very
Yeah.
lucky.
Okay, we got a couple long looks. One scramble probably look, and then this one right here. Not the best shots on this hole, but everybody's kind of in position to give it a little scare.
Ooh.
And scared it was.
That was probably 70 feet. Great effort.
Sit. Okay.
and I thought Nate might be an opportunity to do some cool little slumez action, but when I saw he was lining up the forehand dart, I was like, well, he probably doesn't have too much.
It could have gone in. It was like a little Spikeheiser forehand. I had high hopes.
You're trying to make that?
Sure. I mean,
Yeah, what's
I was
the
trying
point
to
of not?
I was
yeah.
trying to hit the gap
Yeah.
first, get out of the bunker. But yeah, I mean, sure, I was trying to make it.
So, not too uncommon of a result here. It's 50% par, and actually a decent number of birdies considering all the different things coming into play on this one.
I really like this hole. I think it's well designed. Little OB on the left pushes you into that bunker on the right, and you have to have perfect speed control coming in the green.
I gotta say, I agree with you. I at first started playing this one practicing. I wasn't necessarily a fan of the OB left, but thinking about what it forces you to do, I'm definitely on the side of this being a really great disc golf hole.
Me 3. On to hole 8, par 3, 475 feet. This one has out of bounds right of the road. So the tee pad's out of bounds. You've got to hit the gap, get over the road to be safe. Bad rough on the left. Obviously the road long, and these logs here that kind of protect the next tee pad. There's an OB line there as well if you really get on top of it and throw about 500 feet. Super low for Scott.
Yeah.
Made it in bounds, but didn't get much up the fairway at all.
This is in danger of going left into those.
Yeah, well,
Okay, edge.
Yeah, and when we saw it go left, you can tell it doesn't go into the brush, so we're thinking, okay, this is pretty good. I thought it would actually be a little bit closer to the basket, but just no skip there.
Okay, this looks great.
Yeah. One skip.
Adam going with his.
I think he's got some glue him to the ground action today. He's
Yeah,
not
he really
he's not really
does.
skipping at all.
That was Adam's force that actually came from the
Come on.
old closet of mine, and I'm going with my destroyer, and I just didn't quite commit to the power, so open putt, but still probably about 60 feet.
Very slow and methodical run up, making sure everything's in control. Nice result.
He's just such a smooth operator, Squithers. He doesn't do anything too flashy. He's just got he's great at everything.
Those are the scariest people to play against, to where they're just kind of beating you. You're like, wow, huh?
It's
You got 7 out of 8.
Dickerson is like kind of like that, but he's a little flashier. That's the only
Yes.
difference I would say.
Okay.
That's what you needed. Look at this little
Just-
trickler. Trying to leave the area, but no.
I figured maybe it'd look a little more convincingly in on the replay. No, that thing.
It did the opposite for me. On the replay, it looked even a little more like it wanted out, but it was a great putt.
When things aren't going your way, how often do those putts go in?
I think that's the first time.
Ever. Those things always bounce in and fall back out. So that was nice. We got to see a little bit of history there. Adam just barely off, and he's going to take a par, which is still one better than he did in round 1.
typical, I feel like, for this hole. But sometimes there's a little bogey kind of squeaked into a card. You'll see one person get up there for a nice putt, and then everybody else just kind of scrambling around.
And early tree hits out of bounds, and the gap's not necessarily super wide, so yeah, there's a lot of things that can happen there. But you're right, I think that's a pretty typical score, especially for the lead card.
Looking now at 9, par 4, 607 feet. Mandatory keeps you left, so you got to hit this gap. Most likely you're going to hit the gap farthest left. You see a lot of players go forehand off the tee, moving right, even though the hole goes left, to set up a big hyzer out over the road, so you don't have to play through these trees. Forehand roller, also a possible play, or just a backhand up the middle.
So imperative to pick your spot that you want to be off this tee. If you're not long up on that road, you can really find yourself in a weird place. In Champion Eagle, I've actually found what we call no man's land. It's not quite long enough to go simple hyzer down the road, and it's too long to go down the forehand path. To avoid that, Scott goes hyzer play, and now there's really no amount. He's still within 350, but he doesn't have to worry about the tree line at all. So simple hyzer over the road. And with that weirdest kick ever, kicking left instead of up the hill, you're kind of in no man's land as well.
Yeah.
Adam just going with his zone, and that's going to be a little bit farther right, which opens up that angle tremendously. So that's a good shot.
Scott up first here, like you said, roughly 350. Big swinging hyzer, just got to get down the hill. Beautiful.
I'm going back with the Z-Force.
Now he's got a nice read off of Scott's, too, to where he can really kind of match that, which he does perfectly. They're almost identical shots. Sometimes it's great going second. You can get a nice wind read, see what's lift and what's not.
And this is quite a different shot. It's also the hyzer, but you have to go much, much higher.
And tight to the tree line, which is really the only thing that made it tough.
Really good.
And I did not have the hyzer. I pushed too close to the trees. So it's more of a technical shot for me.
Right down the middle with the trusty champ Orc. That's awesome. I mean, that's so many low-hanging limbs there and a couple of trees really keeping you honest. That's a really well-executed approach.
That's birdieing 60% of all of Oregon's holes that there has ever been. I'm sure that brings back some tough memories for some locals around here.
So that's a good birdie cleanup. The unorthodox down the middle play. I can't imagine that happens very often. I mean, most players are definitely going to go hyzer on their second shot. You really have to be in quite a weird spot to have to go down the middle, but he executed it well.
Yeah, I also believe that people are going to push the hyzer anyway. Like they're going to try to go wide and skip it off the road or
even
something.
If they're
wouldn't
in a bad
even
spot.
think about kind of going down the middle. So.
Yeah, you might be right there. Let's look at our UDISC leaderboard. Adam, as you might have guessed, still with that lead, but Scotty not going away. Both of those guys at 6 under on the front 9. I'm sitting third at 12 under, and young Cole Radallen there in 4th at the moment.
Been hearing his name quite a bit lately, so that's good stuff for the youngster. And we got 9 more holes from the second round coming right at you guys. Thanks to the Founders Club. We love you. And obviously, you guys love us, so it's a great relationship.